What is your biggest Fortnite hot take? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be taking a look at your Fortnite hot takes and replying to them in this video. We're going to get into that in just a second. Before we do, though, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to the reply room, everybody, where I ask you guys to jump into the Discord server, which, if you are new here, pin comment description down below. We would love to have you help make these videos, and I posted this. Give me your hottest Fortnite take. I cannot wait to hear what these are, guys. Who knows if they'll be hot? Let's see. I haven't seen any of them, but I am excited. Let's get into it. Chapter 2, Season 6 was cool. Pros just hate change. Well, the pros definitely do hate change, and I will say understandably so, but I do wholeheartedly agree Chapter 2, Season 6 was cool. I loved that season. I loved just about everything about that season, except for the fact that crafting was almost necessary, and it was a little bit of, what do you call it? It was a little bit tedious to kind of get everything that you wanted for Chapter 2, Season 6 to craft things, you know what I mean? But it's understandable why the hate was there for Chapter 2, Season 6. Usually I don't say that about Fortnite stuff, but I do think, like, for example, the makeshift weapons, the animals, sometimes the raptors could be really annoying. I understand where everybody's coming from when they talk about the hate for Chapter 2 Season 6, but I just wholeheartedly disagree. I love the bows, I love the upgraded weapons, I loved the animals, I loved the biomes, I loved the spire, I loved everything about Chapter 2 Season 6, and I will say, though, the pros are definitely warranted in hating something like Chapter 2 Season 6. Coral Castle was a good POI when it comes to looks. I would argue, honestly, it was a good POI in general, to be honest with you. I actually love Coral Castle, but mostly because of the looks. It's a beautiful POI. Those fish in the little cups that they had there. Oh my god, I loved walking around. The ambient sound that was in there. It was just a beautiful place to drop. I enjoyed Coral Castle, to be honest with you. Fortnite Wilds was an amazing season. Unlike most people, I really enjoyed what the season offered. The jungle was great in Wilds, as it had many rift temples. The loot pool was a definite step up from Mega, in my opinion. I adored the Flapjack, MK Alpha, Mammoth Pistol, and Explosive Repeater. I also quite like the Battle Pass. Lorenzo, Optimus Prime, Trace, Era, and Relic were all great skins. The updates in Wilds were also very fun, especially the Futurama/JJK updates. I love the collabs. Jujutsu Kaisen and Transformers are in my top 3 collabs forever, but Futurama and Terminator were also really amazing. Not to mention we actually got lore that season. Overall, I thought it was a very good season. I always kind of thought this too. I enjoyed Chapter 4 Season 3. I enjoyed the entirety of Chapter 4. I will say, though, it's not a step up from Mega. Mega was a huge, great season in my opinion. That's just me, though. I loved the loot pool Mega. I love the AOT weapons. I love the lightsabers. I love everything that was there. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Wilds. I never understood the hate for the jungle biome. Never did. I loved the fact that it changed up the gameplay. I thought it was beautiful in there. I loved the mud mechanic, the bushes, the zip lines, and the tall trees. I didn't mind that people were camping. I liked the loot pool, and Optimus Prime was a collab that I've been waiting for so long. So I completely enjoyed Fortnite Wilds, and I completely agree with this. Chapter 2 Season 2 was one of the worst seasons of Fortnite. The bots were everywhere and overpowered. Thought it was a PvP game, not PvE. Some people say don't go to the locations, but it keeps you at a big disadvantage in the end game. Ooh, Maddie, I always disagreed with you on this one. Chapter 2 Season 2 was one of the greatest seasons of all time, but I get the fact that you don't like the bots, but there was just everything in that season. The loot pool was great. We had live events, storyline, everything that there was about Fortnite was to love this season. And to be honest with you, I kind of also disagree that you were at a big disadvantage if you didn't drop where the bots were. You could still find loot everywhere, you just probably didn't get a mythic weapon, but even then you could just kill somebody with a mythic weapon to take it. So this one I actually disagree with, but of course, as always, and I won't say this moving forward to the video because it should be implied, I respect your opinion. Oh, Kyle, you just unleashed hell upon the community. You know what my hot take right from the microwave will be: mechs. We all know this classic 2-person wind generator vehicle. People went to it, killed with it, were running from it, raged with it, which again makes for good clips, and most importantly, become a complete tank hero Overwatch style. If you could get one in your hands, you know you can make someone a Kush Twitch streamer's Kush. What? I don't even know what that is. Rage, which, yes, I use it like all the other 100 million players that played the game during that time. Even though it all sounds very strong in my opinion, the mechs were fine. Here are the reason why I think they were fine as they were in Season X. 1, you couldn't shoot and stomp and move at the same time, so you needed 2 people, which is half a squad. So you kind of have a trio with a god loot. So in theory, when you're playing smart, you win. When playing dumb, you die. 2, nuclear bomb mode. 3, Just don't go into a mech where there's 1,000 escape options. Just be smart like me. 4, become your inner sweat and crank those 90s on the tank. 5, Mr. Rocket Launcher, Proximity Launcher, Grenade Launcher will like to speak with you. Conclusion, if your brain's braining, you survive. Luke Joe, that was a little tough to read, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I've always agreed with this. I've always agreed with this. Instead of actively working to fight against the mechs, people just went, mechs, and then quit the game. Like, it's unbelievable. Nobody ever tried. Were they overpowered, especially at the beginning? Yes, they were. Were they beatable? 100%. You're right. The rocket launchers, proximity launchers. You had so many things. Shoot the guy in the seat. Nobody tried to. We had boogie bombs. Get it out of the mech. They were easy to fight against. I will die on that hill. Normally, my hot take would be that Season X is the best season of Fortnite and the game needs more Fortnite-y wacky weapons and not a simple, boring loot pool. On this server, however, I don't think that's hot enough, so I'll go with this. Collabs ruin battle passes. They almost never fit the theme and are just shoved in there. If they are tier 100, they devalue the skin that would clearly otherwise been tier 100, and if they are the bonus skin, they replace a cool story-related skin. Even if it's a collab I care about, I would much rather have it in the item shop than in the battle pass, so it always has a chance of coming back instead of forever being stuck in a battle pass and tons of players not being able to get their favorite collab characters just because they didn't play the game during that one season that the characters were available. I've always agreed with this. I completely agree with this. While I have come to the realization that we will never change this, collabs are forever going to be in the battle passes, it just really takes that shine away. Now, honestly, everything that you mentioned here, I 100% agree with. It's just, I wish they were in the item shop. I don't like any collabs ever being in the battle pass. My hot take, Chapter 2 Season 7 was the worst season. I don't like the UFOs and bad map changes, and I also just like to have unpopular opinions to annoy people. Wow, are you just joking around here? Are you just joking around? I don't know if you are, but Chapter 2 Season 7 was my favorite season of all time. I loved that season. I loved everything about that season. The UFOs were amazing, and I did like the map changes. Although they were lacking, I did enjoy them. No one cares about the Lego mode. The majority of players are 10 plus. Why would they want to play with Legos, especially in Fortnite? Another useless collab no one asked for. Ooh, man, I see this was posted a little while ago, but this one didn't age too well there, Jack. Of course, like, it's fine if you don't care about Lego. I would never hate on anybody for not liking the Lego mode. I understand why people would want to play the Lego mode, but the reality is, not only is the game fantastic, but the Lego fanbase is incredible. I don't really like the fact that, like, when people argue, like, okay, everybody's older than 10 years old, why would they want to play with Legos? Like, Legos are cool, man. People like building Legos. My wife loves building Legos, you know? That's totally okay to me. By that same logic, you shouldn't be playing Fortnite because you're 10 plus. Like, everybody can like different things. That's totally okay. But I understand if you don't like the Lego mode, that's totally fine. But the reality is the mode has been a huge success so far. In my opinion, the worst decision Epic has made through the years, besides the recent age rating stuff, is when they gave edit styles to Skull and Ghoul Trooper that you could only get if you played and bought those skins in 2017. While I get they did it as a kind gesture to those who played their game from the beginning, the amount of negativity that has also come from it is huge, from a massive amount of account selling and fake accounts being made and sold at high prices, just so those people can feel special about themselves and flex rare items towards impressionable children, and those who just can't afford skins to make themselves feel better about themselves. The amount of times I've seen people bully others over these two skin styles, and just rare skins in general, is baffling. Interesting thought. Interesting. Ah, that's tough. That's tough, because when you get into, like, the selling account type thing, then kids kind of need to be watched with that stuff, but I still don't think that, I don't know, man. I'm conflicted with this one. I completely understand where you're coming from, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but maybe it's just I don't care. Because, like, like OG players got a pink Skull Trooper style. Like, I don't care about it, but is it fair? No. Like, that's kind of where I'm coming from, if that makes sense. But honestly, you're not wrong. It's a hot take I can respect. We shouldn't have any more first-person red-eye ARs. The one in the game should stay vaulted. Okay. I think that they've gotten a little bit too out of hand when it comes to these weapons, because a lot of them, in my opinion, just feels the same, especially with the attachments. It just makes a lot of these guns feel the same, so I can get behind this, to be honest with you. But again, like the last one, I don't really have a strong preference either way. I just need more fun items in the loot pool. Chapter 1, while fun for its simplicity, hasn't aged well. The lack of quality of life features such as swimming, fishing, actual vehicles all feel super outdated. Even the weapons to an extent, at least the ARs. I see myself running almost exclusively the infantry and scoped AR, especially in Zero Build, because Bloom nowadays just feels so clunky after chapters of non-stop first person, instant accuracy weapons. I'd argue even Chapter 3's weapons such as the Ranger AR have aged better than the regular and heavy AR. I completely agree with that. I completely agree. The Ranger and the Hammer Assault Rifle were so much better than anything back in Chapter 1, but it's tough. It's tough. Like, you could say these weapons are way, way better, but it doesn't make me not have any fun with the scars. Does that make sense? I could still use the old Chapter 1 weapons and have a lot of fun with it, but it's obvious that the Chapter 3 and beyond had such better weapons. Epic really needs to stop trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to its weapons every chapter, now that we get the same weapon but with even less damage. There are a few examples of them going well: Ranger AR, Stinger SMG, Striker Burst Rifle, but a lot of these weapons ultimately tend to fail in comparison to their counterpart. The auto shotgun is a prime example of this. In a fight, an epic auto shotgun will do a whopping 28 damage up close, while an epic tac shotgun would do 80. I would rather much see old classics rather than new knockoffs, but like we were talking about in the last point, it depends on the weapon, because if you talk about the scars, everything's better than the scar, but I know like a lot of old shotguns are better than the new shotguns. I just think it's Epic Games trying to balance their loot pool here, so again, it depends on the weapon you're looking at. Unreal Engine Fortnite is succeeding as a tool, but Epic's management of discovery, moderation, and balance are making creative look bad as a whole. Creative isn't bringing the downfall of Fortnite, it's unironically the management team that is okay with having modes such as, I don't even know if I can mention that. You know what I mean, be trending and cutting on corners when they can bring back LTMs at most can be done in a flick of a switch. Sorry about that, I couldn't read the entire thing, I just want to be careful on YouTube here, but honestly, you're right. I'm a big fan of Unreal Engine Fortnite. I have been pretty much since it released, and I'm confident in its future. You're totally right. You're totally right. Epic's management, discovery, moderation, and balance are making creative look bad as a whole, but creative mode, if you look at it as a tool, and if you look at it, there's a lot of really, really fun and good maps that are coming out, and they're getting better with time, so this I agree with. Wilds is not that bad of a season. Not even in the worst season of Chapter 4, in my opinion, Chapter 4, Season 4. I enjoyed the jungle, loot pool was awesome, and the Jujutsu Kaisen collab was so awesome to me, especially since it's my second favorite anime of all time. It's truly amazing and peak. The mythic Hollow Purple was so cool in every way, from the animation to the damage to players and builds, and how accurate it is to the anime, since in the anime, Hollow Purple erases everything in its path, and Hollow Purple in-game erased like every build. People mainly hate this season because of the summer update and because of the jungle. I don't get why they hate this season just by a single update, and they mainly hate the jungle because of campers, even though there's going to be campers anywhere you go on the map. Wilds is definitely my top 15 season, maybe top 10. Like I talked about earlier, guys, I really enjoyed Wilds, so I enjoy this. This is where people will disagree with me. I enjoy things like the Hollow item, the Deku Smash. I find it hilarious when you could just use something and it just deletes a house. And it also really makes me enjoy the gameplay. We'll go back to mechs. Deku Smash. As soon as I hear the rah, and then your heart starts beating, you're like, I gotta get out of there. I don't know where that's coming. I find that a lot more fun than just always having gunfights. But this is where I can argue again, casual and competitive should be separate, because I understand for the competitive players, this is not something that should be in the game. You know, that's where it's really tough. But for what you said about the jungle, did everybody hate it because of the campers? I thought everybody just kind of hated it in general. Regardless, if that's the reason, then you're kind of right, but it did allow for a little bit more camping than usual on the map. I loved the Mando jetpack. It felt like I was special and had something no one else had. There's a nice quick one, I can't disagree with it. You don't hear that too often, the love for the jetpack, specifically the Mando jetpack, but it's true. You were special, nobody else had that on the map, I can't argue with that. Alright, looks like we got a few in this one. Chapter 2 is the best chapter, real. Chapter 2 Season 6 was peak, almost. Neo Tilted is the best tilted, better than the original, disagree. Chapter 1 was kinda mid until Season 7, hard disagree. Wow, those are hot takes. Hot takes. You can't, oh man, I don't know. Chapter 1 being mid is a big stretch there, but of course, I respect your opinion. This event was mid, better than Fracture, but still mid. No memorable reveal, no lore. They just made the Cube Island vanish like it never existed. It looked like a last-ditch effort event, but it was cool to see the tiny glimpse of the future of Fortnite. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more than everybody else because I went in kind of with those expectations. I didn't expect them to really have a lot of lore, even though I was just mostly saying, like, I know I was talking about, hey, it'd be cool if this happened, it'd be cool if this happened, but I also always said, but I don't trust it. I don't know how that event's gonna go, so for what it is, I really enjoyed it. I like seeing Eminem. I liked seeing all the new modes. I had fun with it. But when you compare it to other events, it just does not stack up at all. Chapter 2 Season 3 was one of the best seasons ever. Definitely a top 5. It's like the Fortnite community hates fun. The season was amazing. The receding flood made for such a cool mechanic, and Coral Castle was not terrible. Also, Charged Shotgun might have had a learning curve, but it's also rewarding to learn it, and it's a different and unique weapon. Bosses weren't overpowered, and neither were the mythics except for Kit. This is also the season Hut Watch started construction again, and the trash islands were just awesome. I wish that they kept them. It could change the corners of the map finally. Yeah, I agree with everything you said here. I agree with absolutely everything. Chapter 2 Season 3 was quick, full of updates, it was constantly changing, and it was so different. It spiced up the gameplay with not even like straying away from the core of the game too much nearly at all. Cars were added, like people forget about that all the time. Chapter 2 Season 3 was one of the greatest seasons of all time. Here's another one for you, Clen. The movement animations aren't that bad. I've seen so many people whine on Twitter about how bad the movement is. Like, bro, it's the same speed. All that changed was the animations. I didn't know how many people are actually sad about this change. Like, bro, they are pixels on a game. Who even cares that much about how it looks? People need to calm down. It isn't that big of a deal. Well, I will say before arguing about it being pixels on a game, if you're playing competitive, if you're playing cash cups, I believe you have a reason to be upset about this stuff. And it has been proven that the movement changes were, while they weren't nearly as much as everybody was saying, there was a little bit of movement change. Now, I don't know if Epic Games actually, because I know they updated a little bit. I don't know if it's back to the way it exactly was, but I agree with you. I don't know why people get so bent out of shape about pixels on a game, as you mentioned. Very, very true. Good way to put it. It doesn't matter in your life at all. People are going crazy. People were doxing that employee. Made a whole video talking about that. Absolutely insane, but I don't know why people just can't adapt, man. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Unless you're playing competitively. Adapt, just have fun with it. It is what it is. Just play the game. It's not that big of a deal. People were just jumping on the bandwagon because everybody was hating on it. Midas is a terrible skin. I love his lore, but the skin itself is so basic and just pretty ugly. I like the golden touch on the weapons, but that's about it. Now, Taboo, you did comment this on another, I think it was a post. I can't remember if it was a video or something like that, but I saw this. I actually agree with it. I don't like Midas as a skin, but everything else surrounding Midas, whether it be the gimmick, the storyline, the live event, I don't care. It's like SS tier level, but the skin itself is just a generic guy with some tattoos and some gold hands. I don't get it. I don't get the hype for it. If you return to Fortnite after a year or more long layoff, then you have no right to complain about sweats. People get better as time goes on and you just suck now. This is so real. More people need to hear that. More people, like, people come back to the game and complain about sweats. Like, you're totally right. Like, you took all this time off, are shocked that people kill you, and you're like, what happened to this game? You know, it's crazy to me. It's insane, the logic that some people try to bring into this world. It's crazy to me, man, but I completely agree with it. I don't have anything to add to it. It's so true. With that being said, though, guys, that is all of the hot takes that we have for you today. Thank you so much to everybody who helped me make the video. Thank you so much to everybody who watched. If you want to help make videos, we have videos like this all the time on the channel. Join the Discord, pin comment, description down below. We would love to have you there, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. On the screen right now, if you'd like to continue watching the Clen channel, there'll be 3 videos for you to check out. The one closest to me, YouTube thinks I like the best. At the top is the rising difficulties of living and dating as a gamer, and the one below at the bottom is the complete guide to fixing Fortnite. I will see you in any one of those videos, guys, or the next video. Take care.